Before you judge yourself, before you call yourself lazy, before you say, I lack discipline, I want you to pause. Because the truth is simple. You were never taught how habits actually work. From childhood, we are taught one dangerous idea. If you want to change, just try harder. So when you fail, you blame yourself. But tell me something honestly. If willpower was enough, why do intelligent people still procrastinate? Why do successful people still have addictions? Why do motivated people still fall back? Because habits do not live in motivation. They live in the nervous system. Every bad habit you have once helped you survive. Scrolling helped you escape stress. Overeating helped you numb emotion. Procrastination protected you from fear of failure. Your brain does not see these as problems. It sees them as solutions. So when you suddenly decide to quit, your brain feels threatened. And a threatened brain does not cooperate. It resists. This is why motivation fades. This is why discipline collapses. This is why you return to the habit with guilt. Japan understood this long before modern psychology. After World War II, Japan was destroyed. No resources, no strength, no shortcuts. They could not rebuild fast, so they rebuilt smart. They followed one idea: small improvement, every day. Without pressure. This idea was called Kaizen. Kaizen does not shock the system. It calms it, and when the brain feels safe, change becomes permanent. This series is not about quitting habits. It is about becoming someone who no longer needs them. Kaizen rule number 1. If it feels hard, you're doing it wrong. Here is the Kaizen law most people ignore. If change feels painful, it will not last. The brain avoids pain, always. That is why extreme routines fail. That is why sudden discipline breaks. Kaizen works because it makes change feel harmless. Let's say you want to stop scrolling. Most people say, I'll quit social media. Your brain hears danger, loss, stress. Kaizen says something else. Just wait 60 seconds before opening the app. That's it. No quitting. No resistance. 1 minute creates space. Space creates choice. Tomorrow, wait 2 minutes. Next week, 5. You are not fighting the habit. You are shrinking it. Small actions bypass fear. That's why Kaizen rebuilt Japanese factories. That's why monks use it for discipline. That's why it works on the human mind. Change that is invisible is change that survives. Why willpower always fails and systems always win. Willpower is emotional, and emotions are unstable. You feel strong in the morning, weak at night. That's normal. Kaizen does not depend on feelings. It depends on structure. When something is easy enough, you don't need motivation. If the habit replacement takes 2 minutes, you will do it even on bad days. This is why disciplined people look unstoppable. They are not stronger. They simply removed friction. Kaizen removes friction. When friction is low, consistency becomes automatic, and consistency changes identity. Replace the habit or it will return stronger. Your brain hates emptiness. Remove a habit without replacement, and it will come back. Kaizen teaches replacement, not destruction. Scrolling, breathing, overeating, walking, procrastination, opening the file. Tiny replacements satisfy the brain. Completion creates confidence. Confidence reshapes identity. You don't stop habits. You outgrow them. The 30-day Kaizen habit reset system. Week 1, observe. Week 2, delay. Week 3, replace. Week 4, stabilize. No pressure, no punishment. By day 30, the urge weakens, not because you fought it, but because you no longer fear it. That is freedom. You don't need a new life, just 1% change. You don't need extreme discipline. You need direction. Kaizen builds strength silently. One small action, every day. Bad habits are not enemies. They are messages. Listen, adjust, improve, slowly. And one day, the habit disappears. Not with struggle, but with growth. That is Kaizen. The identity shift, becoming the person who no longer has bad habits. Let me ask you something important. Have you ever noticed that some people don't fight bad habits? They don't struggle. They don't argue with themselves. They don't use motivation quotes every day. They simply don't do those things. Why? Because they are no longer that person. Here is the final Kaizen truth. The habits don't disappear when behavior changes. Habits disappear when identity changes. Most people try to change what they do. Kaizen changes who you believe you are. And identity is powerful. If you believe you are a smoker, every stress will pull you back. If you believe you are lazy, every comfort will trap you. But if you believe, I am someone who improves daily, even slowly, your brain starts working for you, not against you. Kaizen builds identity through evidence. Not big wins, small proof. When you delay a habit by 1 minute, your brain records evidence. When you replace scrolling with one page, your brain records evidence. When you show up even for 2 minutes, your brain records evidence. And evidence shapes belief. Belief shapes identity. Identity shapes behavior. This is why Kaizen is so dangerous, in a good way. Because once identity shifts, you don't need discipline anymore. You don't wake up saying, I must control myself. You wake up saying, this is just who I am now. And here's the most important part. Relapse does not mean failure. Kaizen never expected perfection. Relapse is feedback, a signal, a lesson. You don't restart from zero. You restart from experience. Even Japanese masters expect imperfection. That's why Kaizen is lifelong. No finish line, no pressure, just direction. So from today, stop asking, how do I quit this habit? Start asking, what would a 1% better version of me do today? That question alone will quietly change your life. The long game, how Kaizen builds unbreakable inner strength. Most people think change is about speed. They want fast results, quick wins, immediate proof. But the strongest people you will ever meet play a different game. They play the long game. Kaizen was never meant to impress anyone. It was meant to endure. When Japan rebuilt itself, the goal wasn't to look strong. The goal was to become strong, quietly. And that same principle applies to your life. Bad habits don't disappear overnight, because they were not created overnight. They were built through repetition, emotion, and environment. So Kaizen answers them with the same weapons. Repetition, calm, structure. Every 1% improvement you make is a vote for your future self. Not tomorrow, not someday, today, even when no one is watching, even when it feels insignificant. Because the human mind changes, not through intensity, but through evidence. When you show up every day, even in a small way, your brain learns something powerful. I can be trusted, and self-trust is the foundation of inner strength. This is why Kaizen creates people who do not panic under pressure, people who do not collapse when motivation disappears. Because their strength is not emotional, it is structural. They don't rely on hype. They rely on habits that survive bad days. And one day, without realizing when, you become calm in situations that once controlled you. Urges appear, but they pass. Temptations knock, but they no longer own the house. Because you are no longer reacting, you are choosing. This is the quiet power of Kaizen. Not the power to force change, but the power to stay consistent, to stay grounded, to stay improving. So don't rush this process. Respect it, protect it, because the life you want is not built in dramatic moments. It is built in ordinary days, handled correctly. And if you keep choosing 1% improvement, months from now, years from now, you won't recognize the person who once felt trapped by habits. You will simply be someone stronger, calmer, free. That is the long game. That is Kaizen. The quiet rebirth, when change becomes who you are. There comes a moment in every real transformation that almost no one talks about. It's not loud. It's not emotional. There is no celebration. It's a quiet moment. A moment where you realize you didn't quit the habit. You simply stopped returning to it. Not because you were afraid, not because you were forcing yourself, but because it no longer fits who you are. This is the moment Kaizen is built for. Most people expect change to feel like a battle, but real change feels like release. The urge appears and passes. The thought comes and fades. And you don't feel proud. You don't feel excited. You feel calm. That calm is not weakness. It is strength that no longer needs to prove itself. This is what happens when the nervous system learns safety without the habit. You didn't take something away. You replaced it with self-trust. Day by day, small action by small action. Your brain collected evidence. Evidence that you show up. Evidence that you pause. Evidence that you choose. And slowly, invisibly, your identity changed. This is why Kaizen does not create dramatic stories. It creates stable lives. Lives where discipline is not heavy, where habits don't control mood, where progress doesn't depend on motivation. You stop asking, how do I control myself? And start living as someone who doesn't need control. You don't fear relapse anymore because you understand something deeper. Relapse is not failure, it is feedback, and feedback strengthens systems. That understanding gives peace. So if you are listening to this right now, know this, you are already in motion. You don't need to rush. You don't need to impress anyone. Just keep choosing the next small step. Because rebirth doesn't happen in one day. It happens quietly. when no one is watching. And one day, you wake up, not changed, but become. That is the quiet rebirth. That is Kaizen. If you stayed till this part, you are already different from most people. Because change doesn't belong to the loud. It belongs to the consistent. Subscribe to this channel if you want systems, not hype. Like this video so this message reaches people who need calm guidance, not pressure. And share it with one person who keeps fighting themselves every day. Because sometimes the smallest step, shared at the right moment, creates the strongest transformation. This is not the end of the series. This is the beginning of your Kaizen identity.